in this video we'll have a look of the snapping into the edit mode. So to do this, what we will do, I will just create a high poly model. So high poly model needs a lot of polygons inside. Like for example, let's create just kind of an icosphere maybe with a lot of geometry. So we will go into the options there and we will just increase the subdivision to have something with, yeah, something like that will be enough polygon to work with. Okay, so now if we have a look on the wireframe, we have a lot of polygons there and it's okay for for the task we'll have to do. So let's say we have a very high poly model. It can be complex, it can be with 2 objects or 3 objects or whatever. Like for example, if I scale and duplicate my object there, okay, and maybe add another with Shift D again and duplicate again, okay, so you will have a kind of strange shape here. I don't know what is it really, but we would like, let's say, to remodel this in low poly. And this is called the retopology in 3D, and you will have a full chapter about retopology, but basically the snap in edit mode is really useful for this. So what can do the snap? Let's add another mesh. It will be the plane and it will be our low poly object. So I go into edit mode and into orthographic view, and I will just make a rotation energy to have my object there above the surface of the other object, not that far, but above the surface here. Good. So now I will use the snap to stick the geometry of my plane on the geometry of my spheres that are here, okay, and I can make kind of low poly version of those ones. And to do so, we'll activate here the snap. So we have the possibility to snap with the increment, and by default what it does is that if I move here my vertex, it will move every 1 meter, so not really something useful for our task, but it's just to show you. You have the possibility to stick on vertices, so for example, let's enable this wireframe there, that we can see what's happening. So you can see now if I move with G, it will stick on vertices, it will move from a vertex to another, okay? So it's not really free, this one, and but it can be useful for some tasks sometimes, but this one, to move from a vertex to another, can be useful sometimes. And edges too, so you can see that now it will stick always on edges, but never goes inside the face, for example, okay? And on faces, it's the most handy one, let's say, the most easy one to use, because it will stick on the surface, but you are free to move wherever you go, okay? So this one, for example, I did move it, and you can see that now it sticks into the surface. So let's say I will move that here, and this here, and this there. Good. And like this, I will have my plane that is on my surface. I will just remove the wireframe to see a little more what we have into edit mode now, okay? And let's say I would like to create a geometry that will go here and after follow this line here and maybe make a full extrusion of this, okay? So let's go ahead and I will do an extrude, and an extrude, and an extrude, and an extrude, and an extrude, until this maybe. Good. And I will make the same with this. Extrude, 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 and extrude. And like this, I'm sure that I stick on the surface. But you can notice that I didn't make a multiple selection. And I will just create the faces that are missing, just starting from here, and with F, it will give the face here, and F, 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 F. Okay? And now it did create a face everywhere there. So now I can just follow here this line, let's say, and yeah, I told you I didn't take any multiple selection. So why I didn't take this? You can notice that if I make an extrusion from here, it will stick only one of my vertices, but not all the vertices. You can see that here only that one is sticking on the surface, but not the 3 here. So it's better to use it one by one. There are other possibilities to stick on the surface with multiple selections like that, but I will show you this later. Here you can follow there, for example, and then after make the extrusion from here and from there, okay, and you can start off creating a kind of retopology there. So I don't recommend you to use only this technique to make retopology because it will be very time consuming, and there are more efficient ways of doing that, but it's a possibility. Then after you will make the first face here, and starting from this, Blender will take it automatically. Then the same for this one, you will make the first, and then just select the 2 here, and with F it will make the faces automatically. I go into wireframe view like this, you can see a little more what I talk about, or maybe no, I will go into without the spheres like this. So I will select this 4 here, make a F, and then after Blender takes it automatically, and it's very quick, okay? So like this, I'm sure I stick on the surface of my geometry there, and it's not only on one surface, but on every surfaces I have into my scene, so it can work with multiple objects. And like this, you are sure that you work on the surface like so, okay? So this is a very common tool to use for retopology, and sometimes it's useful only in edit mode just to use it very quick like that. If you want just something to stick on the surface of something else, so it can be a cloth or something else, I don't know, but can be useful sometimes. You have the possibility to stick to the volume too, but it's not something I use every day. You have the possibility to affect the move, the rotate, and the scale if you want. Usually only the move is enough for the action that we have to do, okay? And then these options here are more for object mode and more interesting for object mode, okay? So that's it for the snap mode. You have, yeah, the volume, I don't use it usually. It's okay to use the face. Usually it works better. And in the next video, we will have a look on another add-on. It will be the loop tool.